My name is Cale Appleby, and I studied in the Bradenton branch of FleetForce, and I graduated at the beginning of July 2022. For FleetForce, I wasn't making more than 30,000 a year if I was lucky. I was a roofer. I'd been a roofer for 8 years, and I was kind of hoping it would take me somewhere, and it never did. And I had an opportunity to make a change, and I seen that everybody was hiring for CDL drivers, and I seen the difference in what the pay could be. And I had the opportunity and I took it, and I'm glad I took it with FleetForce because I got to tell you, making $400 a week is really hard to support a family, So and it's a huge difference, and that's where I started, you know, with the CDL, having a CDL. I started with that much, and I've gotten the raises, through over the last 2 years, but it's the difference in the pay is just amazing, and the job, it's so I wouldn't have any other job. I can't. I'm mad at myself because I didn't do it sooner. Honestly, I never had a credit card before I had a CDL. All right, I've got 5 credit cards now. Their balances aren't high. I'm not running them up. I make enough money to support the credit card so that I can get a better credit score. I'm I'm about to be able to buy a house here soon. I'm saving to buy a house. I have a retirement. I never had a retirement before now. The I have a car with a car payment. I've never been able to do that, And there was no lead up to it, every company's gonna have its own training program after you get your CDL when you start, where they make sure that you know what you're talking about and know that you want to know that you know what you're doing before they hand you the keys to a $300,000 truck, you know. But even in training, it's the money is compared to what I used to make. The money is just it's like a culture shock. I guess would be the best way for me to describe it. It's a culture shock, and I went from being a driver here to now I'm a driver trainer. So that pays even better, and it's just I don't really have any better way to describe it than it's just a downright culture shock. It's not like there was like an unclear path. Does that make sense? It was a clear path. Once I got my CDL, you apply to the right companies, and you're going to get phone calls right away, and then they've got their hiring process you go through. A lot of the confusion with it being hard to find a job once you first get your CDL is a lot of companies require a certain amount of experience before they hire you, which can be misleading because where are you gonna start if everybody requires experience? So what I did, and this was my own personal choice, is I went on Indeed and I set up an Indeed profile, and I applied to as many companies as and they're close to me, I'll apply there. They're close to me, I'll apply there. I started getting phone calls. Certain companies require experience, but not all of them do. So I applied here with preferred materials, and they called me the next day, and it was right away. And I think one of the biggest things that people find difficult is knowing which companies require experience and which ones don't. Now, even some of the companies on Indeed that have it listed that they require the 36 or 38 months or whatever, they're still willing to take people without experience, just not at the pay that's advertised, and they'll get you the experience. And sometimes you can't do that because it depends on the insurance companies. Pretty much want the experienced drivers. So you got to find your spot, and the best place I found to start is Indeed, because like I said, the company I'm at now was on Indeed, and that's how I got this job. And then Grizel, our HR and recruiting officer here at the company, actually came into FleetForce and spoke to the class as well as Sarasota County and a few other places. And Grizel has really changed my mind because we were talking about the pay and how much they pay and how many hours, and they wouldn't have been in there if they needed people with experience. You know what I mean? I wanted to make one more point, um, as far as having a CDL is concerned. A lot of guys um, have a fear of getting their CDL because a lot of people think that if you're a convicted felon, you can't get far, you know, and I'm a convicted felon, and so I just wanted to point out that, once you've been there and you get out you have a mindset that you're not going to get anywhere now. And that's not true. It's not true, especially if, you're not the same person you were beforehand. If you've changed, there's second chance CDL companies that will hire you without experience, like just like the one I work for now, and they pay really well, and it's a great company to work for. And
That's
you
great.
and I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, you can get a CDL and get a job at any ready mix concrete company anywhere. They're always hiring all of them, and they're always hiring anybody. They're willing to train anybody. Honestly, the few roofers I do know, I've been trying to get them to come over. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so much better. Like a couple of those guys are my really good friends, and I mean, if you're working a manual labor job out here, pulling concrete, working on a roof, climbing around in somebody's attic doing HVAC, I mean, it can be good money, but the job is so difficult, and one day your back's not going to be able to take it anymore. And you got to make sure that there's enough of you left for your family at the end of the day. And that can be really difficult in a job that is so hard on your body. And having a CDL can open some doors for you that you didn't think could be open. So you can make a lot more money, and there can still be enough of you left when you get home for your children and for your family. To me, that means the world, honestly. And I'm sure that it does for my kids too. Remember what I said, where people require experience? Typically driving an 18 wheeler, all the local jobs require experience. It's over the road jobs that you can get right away. Um, Honestly, I got my Class A, and I don't drive a Class A truck. I drive a straight truck, a cement truck, and none of the cement trucks require that experience. So I've been local since I got my CDL. I got hired July 25th, 2022, and I got my CDL July 1st, 2022. So I mean, and I've been I've been local ever since, and I haven't skipped a beat. I mean, you get vacation, paid time off. You got a lot more family time than you would expect when you with the CDL if you find the right job. You don't have to go over the road. I mean, if
That's
you want to, that's great, but you don't have to. Honestly, all mixer companies are always hiring. All concrete companies. As far as anything else goes, I couldn't tell you the answer on that one. But as far as the job that I have and the job that the people I know have, we're always hiring. Every company, every concrete mixer company is always hiring drivers. Everybody always wants concrete. It's kind of a need till all Florida's paved. FleetForce strong.